All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to this session. And what I want to do in this session is I'd like to kind of continue what we have been talking about. And that is putting what I feel is the missing element in probably most, if not all, of your PLR that you have, and how to really make it something that you're going to be able to sell, right? And so if you're following now, I'm going to suggest that if you want to ask questions, you can do that at the YouTube page, right? So you can, I think I can see your questions there if you have any, and I'll be able to answer them there in the chat in YouTube, right? So that's just if you're trying to follow along there. All right. And so once again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them there in the YouTube chat. Okay, so let's kind of dive in here, and I'm going to pick it up a little bit from where I left off, and just kind of talk about the missing element in most PLR. And I want to say this at the outset, and if you were to even look through our package, you probably would not find this. And so this is not a knock on PLR creators, because you're going to find that really a PLR creator cannot put this in here, what I'm going to be talking about. And hello, Dana. And so that's kind of important to kind of state. So you don't want to kind of go back to somebody who has PLR and say, "Hey, do you have a pre-sell in there?" Because they probably won't, nor should they have one, right? Okay, so let's go for it. Let's see. I've got my Skype is going off here. All right, so okay, so the gap between getting traffic and actually seeing activity is not always going to be based on the method. What you have to do, and what I have to do, is we have to pre-sell an offer when we're getting traffic. Whatever you're doing in terms of sales, you can be getting a lot of traffic to a particular offer, and they could be seeing the sales page. That's not necessarily going to always be the thing that's going to help you. What's really going to help you typically is going to be whether or not that person is ready to see the offer. And so that's going to be what's important. When you're effectively pre-selling, you've sort of already decided on who the target is. So in other words, you don't just want to bring anybody to the page. And when you bring somebody who is pre-sold, you're basically bringing somebody to some degree who's either convinced or almost convinced, or at least warmed up to the idea you're going to be showing them to the sales page. And again, that's just going to make your sales page more effective. um, you're going to be deliberate about what they want or need. So, in other words, when you get somebody there who has been pre-sold, they're going to have been pre-sold based on something that you told them in your pre-sale page, or in your pre-sale video, or in your pre-sale ebook, whatever you did to pre-sell them. You probably pre-sold them based on them trying to clear up some kind of deficiency, them trying to accomplish some kind of goal. So they've got something in mind. So basically, you're bringing people to whom that solution is going to be an answer to a problem that you spelled out to them in the pre-sale. And then what you are basically doing, right, in the pre-sale, is you're basically making them uncomfortable with their current reality, whatever you do it. So you're talking about what's affecting them, what's not right about what they're experiencing, so they will want what you have. What you have is going to be in their way. You are going to describe to them some kind of future reality that they can get. So in other words, what they have right now is not working. What they could have in the future could work, right? And you're spending the pre-sale getting them ready for what they're about to see. In fact, the pre-sale is basically going to be telling them the only alternative, right? You're gonna make sure that the only alternative, once you have done your pre-sale effectively, is going to be the product you're going to be pre-selling, right? So by the time they get to the page, you should have made the argument. Now, whether or not they're convinced or not will really depend on how good a job you did, but they should be convinced to some degree that enough that they got to go over to the page. They've got to be convinced that, well, you know what I'm experiencing right at this moment is not what I want. What I want in the future is sort of what I want, and this person is telling me if I go and check this thing out, then I'm going to be able to get some relief. I'm going to be able to accomplish the goal. So in order, the only alternative, if you've done your job right, for them to get that future reality is going to be that product that you're sending to, that sales page you're going to be sending them to. Now, the product you're going to be pre-selling is in their way, right? So in other words, they've got to trip over your product. They're going to trip over the product you're promoting. They're going to trip over the product that you are telling them they have to have in order to get what they want. That's what you're doing in the pre-sale. Now, here's the thing, right? Whoever you're pre-selling, in most cases, you have to kind of know that market. You sort of have to know your niche. You have to know your list. You sort of need to know the people who are in your group, if that's the way you're pre-selling. You need to know the people who are on, in your Twitter feed. You need to know them at least in terms of what their preferences are, right? Because what you're going to do with PLR is this: before you get to the pre-sale, and I just want to say this up front, right? I don't necessarily believe that you need to just take a PLR product as is and then plop somebody in front of that sales page and then expect them that you're going to have a bunch of people saying, yep, that's what I want. That's not even what it's designed to do. If you truly know your market, you will change the product and how it's delivered to make an unrefusable or a mafia offer. And that's part of what I talk about from theory of constraints. In other words, you and I have to make a mafia offer. We have to make the offer unrefusable. We have to make an offer, and we've got to spice up the PLR to make sure that, and again, I'm not talking about the copy. Because again, if you're pre-selling right, quite honestly, the copy's not gonna matter, especially if you're working with the make money online niche. How many of you all really buy based on the copy? Not too many of us, right? We're typically already sold by the time we get there. And they're going to be able to do that well if you're going to be able to do some of the things we're going to be talking about here in this session. Now, you and I need to be able to make that mafia offer by making a product that we know people are going to want and find unrefusable. And so basically, you want to take that PLR that you get and transform it into an unrefusable offer. PLR is a product. It is not an offer, right? Understand that. You turn a PLR product into an offer. You are the difference between the product and the offer. In other words, you add to that product until it has the value for your niche that it needs for it to be an unrefusable offer or a mafia offer. You make a mafia offer by solving as much of the buyer's problem by getting to point B as you can. So in other words, when you start adding bonuses, those bonuses need to counter objections and solve problems for your niche. So in other words, you're going to do Facebook ads, and you're going to take a Facebook ads PLR product, but you're going to do this for let's say furniture retailers. You got to have something in there that's going to help furniture retailers. This should be a bonus in that product. It shouldn't just be you're going to put this Facebook ads PLR product in front of them and have them say, oh, that's just what I need. What you need to do if you really want that product to sell and you really want that product to sell fast, you've got to raise the value for your niche. In this particular case, I'm using the example of furniture dealers. I'm saying to you that place something in that product, place something in that product to turn it into an offer, put something on that sales page to turn it into an offer, place something in it to turn it into an offer so that those people feel like, hey, you know what? I have to have this right now. Once you have a great offer, now that's just kind of the pretext. Now, once you have a good offer, the question is, how do you get them to point B? Right? That's what we're talking about in the pre-sale. Now, again, I just wanted to kind of say that up front. Do make sure that you're not trying to pre-sell something that's a dog, right? So don't leave it don't leave it the way it is. Turn it into something. Take a product, right? PLR is a product. It is a component. I keep saying that. I'm going to keep saying it. It is a component to an offer. You are the difference between the PLR product and the offer. Now, and again, that's where the pre-sale comes in. Now, in the PLR product, what are you typically getting, right? What are you typically getting? Well, you're typically getting a product, right? You're typically getting whether it's the MP3 videos or the audios or whatever the case is, you're getting this. And the question is going to be, so how do you turn this into an offer? You're going to be getting a sales page with it. You're going to be getting a lead magnet page, right? Typically, you're going to get emails with it. And typically, sometimes those emails will attempt to pre-sell. You're going to be getting graphics with the offer. You're going to be getting a lead magnet. Now, the question about the lead magnet when you get it is, does it inform or pre-sell? So in other words, you got to look through the lead magnets. Don't take a lead magnet from a PLR product and then assume it's going to pre-sell, right? So in other words, it may or may not. It may not pre-sell your niche. You have to turn it in. You have to turn it from information into pre-sell. And basically what that means is making sure that it fits your niche, making sure it fits your message, right? So a lead magnet may or may not. And I'm going to tell you how you're going to discern whether or not that message is going to be working for you. Now, the reason a pre-sell isn't necessarily included is because it needs to come in your voice. So, in other words, you're probably saying, well, why don't you put that in your PLR? Well, the fact of the matter is, a pre-sell needs to be in your voice. And this is one of the things I kind of say over and over again. The point of you're doing PLR, video or otherwise, right? In most cases, isn't for you to redo the whole thing in your voice. It doesn't have to be in your voice. What needs to be in your voice is why they need to buy it and the context. You should be placing it into context, right? You are the person that makes the context for your niche, for your list, for your followers, for your community, for your Facebook group, for your Twitter file, whoever it is, you are the difference. You are the context maker, right? And this is where you need to excel. You need to excel in pre-selling. You need to excel in making sure that that product is an offer and that offer is coming in the form, right, of something that is in your voice. So in other words, here's why, again, the pre-sale is not going to be in there. You're never going to find a PLR product with an effective pre-sale because it has to be in your voice. Now, here's why a PLR product has to come in your voice. A pre-sale has to come in your voice. Now, if you're selling an information product, you need to provide the context. Like I said, if you have a list, here's the thing, right? And I'm going to get to this a little bit at the end because that's really almost like the point of this. But a list really needs it. It should be part of an ongoing conversation. Now, that really depends on how you do your emails. I mean, you can just build a list, right? You can burn the heck out of them if you want. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That is a business model. Right, you just build your list as big as you can. You build a buyer's list, and then you burn it out if you need to. Right, just replace those people. So it should be part of your ongoing conversation. And the question is going to be always, how does this fit with what you've been talking about? Right? How's this help them based on your other conversations? So in other words, what are you talking about on a regular basis? And then you're going to be sending them to an offer or pre-sell. You're pre-selling them. How does that pre-sell fit into what you have been talking about? Now, I want to say this also, because probably someplace in your brain, you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't necessarily work all the time, or that doesn't necessarily make sense because I don't make decisions like that. Well, here's the thing, right? When you're talking about seasoned internet marketers, this is going to work differently, right? So in other words, understand this about internet marketers, about people who operate in the JVZoo Warrior Plus world. Most of us see about 7 times more information product offers in a day than most people see, right? So we don't necessarily fit this model exactly. That means that although these internet marketers have a filter, it doesn't work like ours. So in other words, people who don't do this every day, they don't have the same kind of filter you and I do. So again, if this doesn't make sense to you in terms of the way you buy, it's not supposed to. Right? I'm talking about normal people in the real world who don't see as many information product offers as we do every single day. A seasoned or a JVZoo Warrior Plus needs less pre-sale. You and I don't need as much pre-sale in order to buy something. And I'll tell you why that is. The reason is because we already know the product that you're promoting. Right. So in other words, somebody's promoting a product, we probably know about it already, right? Probably heard about it from another marketer, or we've probably seen it. Maybe we've even seen it on the launch list. They probably already know you or your reputation, right? If you're promoting or you're launching, they probably know the affiliate that's promoting your product. And they have a trust level to them. So in other words, they don't need as much pre-sale. You and I don't need as much pre-sale. So again, if you think, well, you know what, this doesn't compute, doesn't necessarily make sense. That's why for us who were inside of information marketing, this is not going to be the same thing. And I'm not talking about necessarily that you have to be outside of this market, but you do need to understand that our people, right? Our people who buy on Warrior Plus, JVZoo, all those places, we have a different way of looking at life and information products. In some cases, we're not even buying information products because we want to know what's in it. Sometimes we're buying information products because we want to do some research on them. right? So again, we're just looking at this totally different. Just keep that in mind. Now, here's some ways to pre-sell. You can obviously get people to opt in, right? You can opt them in using a written report, an audio, video, or some kind of way, and you can pre-sell them based on what it is that they're going to be wanting. You can also do this by live video. You're seeing this more and more, right? You're seeing webinars, right? You're seeing live, on Facebook or YouTube. People are doing that, and they're doing their pre-selling there, doing it on Instagram or social media. They're doing it through their email or their email marketing database. And basically, again, you know what? An email marketing database is not necessarily the email copy. You and I need to be playing the long game, and we're basically doing this on the basis of reputation and trust, right? And so, I said this here: make sure you're playing the long game if you're going to do email, right? If you're gonna be an email marketer and you're going to pre-sell in this way, you have to play the long game. And basically, what I mean by the long game is you probably don't need to promote any and everything. Now, some people do play a good short game and they just build their list as big and as fast as they can. And if a bunch of people unsubscribe, they're not really concerned about that. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying don't copy a business model because you think something's working, just because you see it or because you're on somebody's list who does that. Right? Most people, you've got in order to play the short game, you've got to build a list really fast, and you've got to have a lot of leads coming in, and you got to be willing to lose a lot of leads. Now, if you don't want to do that, play the long game. I suggest you play the long game anyway, because it's a lot easier to sustain. And for most people who are not just just flat out born salespeople, or they don't have this gargantuan list that's growing every day, they're going to have to do that. Now, here's what your pre-sale is not going to be. Here's what a pre-sale is not. Your pre-sale is not your sales page, right? So your pre-sale will send people to the sales page, but it's not your sales page. Your pre-sale is not your social media post, right? So in other words, you can use your social media post to pre-sale, but that's not an effective pre-sale. Typically, you're kind of getting people to a link, and you're not necessarily getting down to why they're going to need this, right? Your pre-sale is not going to be your information. What do I mean by your information? I'm talking about your podcast, your blog post, or your video blogs. In other words, anything that you're doing to provide information, that's not necessarily going to be your pre-sale. Now, and I've got a caveat to that. Now, if you're talking about a review blog or you're talking about a review channel, you can pre-sell. That is the point of doing a review blog. In other words, all you do on that blog is you review products, you pre-sell them. You basically do a blog post only based on the benefit they're going to get and how the product fills it. Now, again, that is a specific business model. It is one that you can employ, but I'm just saying that in general, your blog posts are not going to pre-sell unless they're this kind of blog or this kind of video channel. In most cases, you're going to send people from the blog or your blog post to a place where you are going to pre-sell them. Right now, let's go deeper with this. Now, one of the ways you're going to be able to pre-sell effectively is you're going to have to be consistent about landing pages. I didn't say great at doing landing pages. I said consistent, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Consistent over great. Now, if you're playing the long game and you're building rapport and you're building the kind of community and you're building the kind of list that you expect people to be with you for the long term, you can pre-sell with landing pages, quite honestly. And again, this is not going to mean that your copy is going to be super duper great, right? In fact, in most cases, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be talking to people the way you talk to them every day in an email, and you're going to be showing them based on who they know you to be. When you do a landing page, make sure that your bonus is there, right? Make sure that you include a sales video. Now, again, I understand with all of the goings on with YouTube, that may or may not be something you want to do, but I'll get to that here in a minute. Now, on your landing page, make sure you're including a headline, make sure you have a visual presentation, make sure you have some copy about benefits. And I don't really care whether or not this is your product you're selling or not. Now, I know this is not necessarily the view of everyone. You don't necessarily want people to drop off right from your landing page to actually getting to the page where they're going to see it. However, here is what I will say to you, right? What you and I need to do is we're going to have to do landing pages with the long game in mind. We're building rapport and relationship. Now, on your page, you can either pre-sell. I mean, you can either sell the bonus or you can sell the product, right? As a lead in into the product. In other words, the pre-sale is going to be based on your bonus. So in other words, you're telling people how cool the bonus is before they get to the sales page. And again, your landing page doesn't have to be great. It can be good or bad, but being consistent is going to be the important thing. So again, um, I, I, I'm not saying don't try to improve your landing pages or don't try to improve the copy. Definitely want to get better, but don't not do them and don't not pre-sell because you don't necessarily feel like you're a great copywriter right now. Start by doing landing pages so that you send people to that landing page before you send them to the sales page, and then just get them pre-sold. Right? Pre-sell them. Talk to them about the benefits. But again, make sure you've got a sales video there for people who watch videos. Make sure you've got a headline there so people will get it when they see it right away. Make sure you've got a bonus there for people who want a little something more. Make sure you have a visual representation, right, for people who are visual but don't want to watch videos. Make sure you have some copy about benefits for people who don't care about all the other stuff, the graphics or any of that other stuff, but they're just concerned about what they're reading is going to be a benefit to them. All that stuff should be on your landing page. It just doesn't need to be that long. Right? It only, I'm not talking about like paragraphs and paragraphs. I'm talking about a line for each one of these things. That is very, 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 very basic. Now, what I also want to say about the landing page, and here's what I wanted to get to: you can overcome the YouTube problem of autoplaying, because again, people are going to your landing pages because you're playing the long game, because you're building reputation and trust. Now, if you're not playing the long game and you're trying to, and you're just trying to get them in and get them to a page fast, then listen, you don't have to do all that stuff, right? But if you're building rapport, get them on that, and don't worry about the auto playing, right? Some people are going to watch a video, some people are not. Don't worry about the fact that they're related videos on YouTube if you want to use YouTube. Now, again, you can use Amazon S3, but I don't think you have to use all that stuff. What you have to do is when you get them there, you've got to make sure you get them there with the intention that they want to see that video because they want to see it, right? And that's all going to be determined by the relationship you're building with them through your emails, through all the other activities where you're playing the long game. Now, make sure you're pre-selling with written content. Now, again, I don't have this ironed out all that succinctly. But because I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time with this, but you can actually use written content to pre-sell. Right now, this is not something that I do every day, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but it's definitely something that other people do, and you can do it. Most people do a pretty good job of it who do it all the time, and they're consistent about it. Right now, the only thing that I will say about this is that when you're going to use written content, you have to assume people are going to skim, they're not going to read. People don't read, people don't listen. You have to assume that people are going to be reading on a really small device. So again, you're going to have a lot of text, you're going to have a lot of information that's probably not going to pre-sell anybody. What you want to do is you want to write your subheadlines intentionally. What I mean by that, your subheadlines are the H2 tag, or the big bold subheadlines you use to break up your content, your written content. Those things, if you were doing it to be consistent, they ought to flow in a direction, right? They ought to flow in a direction where people can get what you're talking about. In other words, your subheadline should be basically talking about the problem. One subheadline can be talking about what happens if the product gets worse. One subheadline can be the solution. Another headline can be somebody who's experienced. So again, experience some benefits from it. So these sort of sub headlines are kind of a pattern you can use if you're going to use your written content in order to pre-sell. The other thing is this: if you're going to do an ebook or a longer piece, 4,300, 3,000 to 5,000 words, you can use this as an outline. So in other words, a section introducing the topic, a section that talks about the problem, a section that talks about what happens if the problem gets worse, the solution, and then a case study, right? You can follow that very same pattern in order to pre-sell using written content, even if you take these elements and you don't do it all in one article, but you do them as sections of your pre-sell. Okay, but now here's the thing. Okay, so what can you do to make any or all this doable? How can you make this doable? Well, the case with everything that you're going to be able to do is you're going to need to be able to explore something and get your own results, right? Explore something and get your own results. Second, start by building an audience, right? In the niche you define. Again, if you're going to play the long game and you want to be able to pre-sell, how do you make pre-selling easy? Let's say you're not going to be good and great at copywriting, right? And again, we all need to improve, but before you get good, excuse me, at copywriting, you can definitely build an audience, right? An audience you're going to be building trust with. Do your blog, your podcast, a video on a regular basis, and then train people, right? Show them how to do something. Launch products on a regular basis, regularly to your audience. And then you want to make sure that they're telling you what it is that they want. And then, of course, you should be getting opt-ins through your product launches and your content. Right. So again, if you want to start, and I guess you could say this is list building for a little bit, right? You're building up your pre-selling by building a list that you have rapport with, but you do that by building an audience first, right? If you want to build an audience first with the people that are part of your email marketing list, this is how you do it. Something where you're giving them some information, something where you're training them, showing them how to do something, and then something where they can experience what it is that you have, your point of view. And then, of course, I mean, you should be writing emails on a daily basis, right? You can start that today, right? And you say, well, I've only got 2 people on my list. That doesn't matter, right? You should be writing an email every single day. And if you wait until your list gets to be 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 people, and you start writing an email then, right? And it's going to be too late. I can almost guarantee it's going to be too late. The people there are going to be non-responsive. And you know what? One of the things that I'm starting to discover is that if you are consistent about sending, you're going to have less problems. You're going to have fewer problems with spam filters and promo tabs, right? Consistency helps. Right now, once you determine that you have a point of view that's resonating, start getting your content on other platforms like Amazon, Skillshare, and Udemy. Again, all this is going to do is build your list. Now, um, I guess the final thing about this, in terms of making sure that you have an effective pre-sale, and it's going to seem like a bit of a contradiction, but it really isn't. You need to be monetizing curiosity seekers by getting your offers hosted with buy buttons. So anything that you have where you can actually have a sales page, get an offer hosted with a buy button, and get those offers onto your resources page, right? And then get links into your support signature, right? So again, close up all the leaks, close up every aspect of your business where people cannot find out about your product. Every area where you have contact with people, get those links into your support signature, get links into your email signature. So in other words, close up all the links. You say, well, what does that have to do with pre-selling? It has everything to do with pre-selling because again, in some cases, people are probably going to be willing to buy something even because they're just curiosity seeking. And you don't want to miss out on that. You don't want to miss out on that revenue. If you know somebody opted in already, make sure you're talking to them differently. And then here's what you're going to do, right? All the revenue that you earn, right, from this kind of traffic, reinvest it into your business, right? Reinvest it into getting more traffic. Reinvest it into getting a VA, right? Reinvest it into more production, right? So you can create your products faster, right? Anything you're getting on a regular basis. Listen, if you're getting, let's say, $50 to $200 in sales just from doing these things, take that money and put it back in your business. Don't even live on that. Don't eat on it. Don't chew it up by buying information products. Put it into production. Put it into getting traffic. Put it into something that will directly benefit your getting people to your sales page. All right. Okay. So you can actually pick up. We're doing a recommendation now at the plrshow.com/MN bundle PLR. And that's niche marketing PLR bundle. You can pick that up at our link along with our bonus. Okay. So are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you all hanging out with me here. Have a great day. Hey, Hugh. Uh, yeah, I'm just finishing up. No worries. But the replay will be there. So all you've got to do is click in there, and it'll be right there. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.